Actually, a little bit harder. He also did me in Carmelis Pusami Arba. A Carmelis is always no less than Dalet Tvachim. If it's less than Dalet Tvachim, it's a Mokum Tur. It's not a Carmelis. You're allowed to transfer from it, right? So this, if it's this, okay, it could be a Carmelis. If it's too small, it's not a Carmelis. Yeah. It takes 10 tvachim. What does that mean? What does that say? He has to have yud tvachim to be a carmelis. We'll show you it's not true. You have a house, that little tiny house. It doesn't have. It's only this high, right? But on top, it's 10. So Agago, it's mutal l'taltal. It becomes a Rishus HaYochid on top because it has walls and it has top and goes up. Those halachas go up. It's therefore mitoicha and metalton boy, a little bit all amas. But since there aren't mechitzas and it's not 10, it's right. So it's not 10 tvachim high. So therefore, it's a carmelis. That's why. So what is it? So what is he saying? So what do you mean that you have to be yud tvachim? The teretz is ad yud tvachim the ad yud lavi carmelis yud tvachim lavi carmelis. There's a concept that again, if the certain area is dal tvachim, so it's a carmelis. It becomes this table could be a carmelis. But the rule of carmelis is it's only up to a certain height. Just when you go into certain airspace above regular airspace of the ground, that's not called carmelis. Whatever if you're transferring from there to Shusayachim, that's not you're not chayiv. It's not considered. It's not a din Rishus Rabbim at all over there. And ki adam l'shmul the Shabbos that was a statement made. The halachas of Shabbos are not above yud tvachim. They don't go this high. That there's no Rishus HaYochid. That's not true. As high as you go up we're in this room, Rishus HaYochid. It doesn't make a difference how high something is. If we put if something could be nach, you could put some pole up on top. Rishus HaYochid goes up as far as you can go. If you're if you're in a Rishus HaYochid, that's right here. This is a Rishus HaYochid. We're in a Rishus HaYochid, so there's no limit to the height of the Rishus HaYochid. So now it's kona. You put a pole in Rishus HaYochid. It's over noch agam. I feel for me amal is chayiv. Rishus HaYochid and the rekia. That's the rule. Rishus HaYochid goes up to the rekia. Ella. There's no base today, no? Yeah. So what do you want to say? That there's no Rishus Rabbim l'malam yud. Again, he made a statement. There's no l'malam yud. That was a statement. So if now you say maybe it refers to Rishus Rabbim, that's a mishnah. If you throw something in the Rishus Rabbim, and when you throw something from Dalad Am Rishus Rabbim, you're chayiv. But if it's above Dav Tvachim, it's like Zoyt Ba'avir. Even if it hits the wall above tvachim, it's still like throwing in the air. The matu tvachim is like words. So you see why in the air, if it goes on the wall in the air, is not called Rishus Rabbim space. And the carmel is the carmel. So the chiddush that was said over here is going carmel, then comes the miyasara. So just like Rishus Rabbim doesn't go above the space, even though Rishus HaYochid does, carmel also doesn't go above the space. Chazal created this thing, this halachic entity of carmelis, but they were lenient in both ways. First of all, it has to have 4 tvachim to be a carmelis. But second, it's smaller than 4. Right? We said it gets small, then it's a mokum tur. The yisurim do not apply. Mokum tur b'amu. Kuli Rishus HaYochid, Rishus HaRabbim, that Yitvachim Davi Kamal, so Yitvachim Davi Kamal. Above Yitvachim, just like Rishus HaRabbim is not existing above, so too Kamal is existing above. Zaktik Mavai Tegufa, Amar Rav Gid Amar Rav. You have a house that's very short. It doesn't have your tvachim. It's only here. But kiruya, but the ceiling is mashlimai liyasar tvachim. So therefore, on top it's called a sar tvachim. Anything that's good tvachim and has walls, even underneath it has walls. It becomes a rishus yachid. It's halachik rishus yachid. So mutar talta. On the top it's mutar talta. It's rishus yachid. Bekulai. We said before, and therefore inside this little whatever it is, house, tent, whatever, right? It's only down. You can't move. It's like being in Rosh Yeshiva. You're allowed to move. You're allowed to metalta less than non amos technically, but not more than that. Now, so here there's a halachic solution in choka. You know, choka means he dug out underneath. Now. He can't dig out the whole thing, but he did a space, a 4 tvachim. He took a space and he dug it out. So what happens is that space is yud tvachim. So in that area, it becomes rishus yachid, right? So that makes the whole thing, since part of this entity is rishus yachid, the whole thing now becomes also rishus yachid. Why is it rishus yachid? Since my time, because the center is rishus yachid, the main part is the remaining sides of this house, as they call it, is chure rishus yachid. What's called holes of the rishus yachid. We had this before. Chure rishus yachid. Here rishus yachid damu. The holes are because since they're used together with the rishus yachid, it becomes like rishus yachid. Similarly, rishus rabim, a hole of rishus rabim. As you walk in rishus rabim, and there's a hole in the wall. That's rishus rabim. Abayam rishus rabim. And Rava says no, it's not. Since it's a separate piece, it's not really part of rishus rabim. Again, Rava says it's not rishus rabim. He says I'll tell you why. The doctor is rishus rabim. So ma'ishta mihad the kiyasav dima v'yachal l'intzchel the keren zavis. How is that different? The doctor, he's like Rishus Rabim done. Ma'ishtam yadiki asa Rav Dimi Amar Rabbi Yechanan. That explained that what is the Carmel is coming to teach us. He says you only need it for Rishus Rabim for the Keren Zav. You only need it to tell you that a Keren Zavis of Rishus Rabim, a corner where the traffic doesn't flow of Rishus Rabim, he says as a Carmel is. So if you're right that the Chure Rishus Rabim, shouldn't the Keren Zavis also be Rishus Rabim? V'tavi Kechure Rishus Rabim. Let it be no different. So once I know that, why would he have to make this whole statement? Carmel is coming to teach me the Keren Zavis, like we said in Amud Aleph. So he says no. No, it's actually worse. At least the holes, I'm walking down the street and I can put my hand in the hole and use them. That's called nicha tashmishta. It's useful. It's easy to use. That's called Rishus Rabim. That's called Rishus Rabim. So now it's like down house because okay, yeah, there's a little more here. It's not. Azari kaisel dal someone who threw again. There's another hitzah. If you throw in Rishus Rabim, or you carry in Rishus Rabim, or you throw in Rishus Rabim, and travels down Amos, and it was a kira nocha, you're chayiv. So similarly, we have a story here as follows: Hazoyrek dal Amos b'kaisel l'malam yasara is kazorik ba'avir. So, but if it hits the wall above 10 tvachim, that is not airspace of Rishus Rabim, and it's like air, and even hitting the wall is like air. But if it's below a certain tvachim, then you are high. It's like the aretz. So let's explain this. What does it mean kazorik ba'aretz? Lo nach. If you throw at a wall, Where's the hanocha? Just, I don't know, just bounce on the wall. Why is she chayiv on the wall? The answer is, it depends what you're throwing. It's very shmeina. You're throwing a sticky date, so you throw it and it sticks on the wall. So you threw it down, Ramos, it hit the bottom of the wall, the wall doesn't talk. So Tvachim, and you are chayiv. Oh, so now that's what I said. So based on this discussion, we're now going to go back to a question. If you say, if you're right, Rava, so why? So you have a kasha. How when a guy throws something at a wall, how is he chayiv for being Rishus Rabim? Lami the ukv shmeina. I'll tell you, you don't have to come up with this funny solution. Say you took a pebble, the chayfetz, or whatever it was, with the nach before, and landed inside the wall, which is a Rosh Yeshiva, based on what you're saying, because it's a whole Rosh Yeshiva, it's Rosh Yeshiva. So he gave different answers. One answer was Simon. Sometimes the answer to this question, when it was asked, was given. It doesn't really happen. It's not going to end up. What are the chances you're going to throw it in the wall? Impossible. It's a silly answer. Or not every wall has a hole. So that's what we're talking about. Just like in the Reisha, that's just like throwing in the air. But it has a hole. That's not the air. If it's nach bechor, it falls in the hole. So maybe there's no hole of dalad dvalid. So it's not anacha. Even if it's a tiny hole. So there's a big machlekes here. How do you look at a hole in a wall? That depends on machlekes a meir badr, a meir suffer. There's a concept of choykiking lahashmin. What's choykiking lahashmin means that if there's even in this closed space in the hole, the halach of uses is expanded. It could become a bigger hole. There is space underneath it, so we're choyking. Choyking means we chisel it. Halachically, we chisel it. Lahashlim, and therefore the hole should be chayev. So why didn't you say the case of the hole? Ella, no. The answer. So why did you say it's so posh? If you throw on the wall, it's like avir. Ella, teretz is Ramina because it's the less lead before. Because we're not talking about a wall with holes. That's not what we're talking about. And therefore, when you throw it against a wall, it's Rishus Rabim. And by the same token, when you throw it on the lower lesser tvachim, it's Rishus Yachid. There's no hole. It's all there. Unless it's a shar. You're not chayav, sorry, if you throw against the wall, because there's no hole. Unless it's a tevela shmeina, so that's why we have to come on to this case, this kind of funny, sunny case, where he was throwing a sticky date that's stuck on the wall. That's the case. We throw it, it sticks on the wall, and you chayav, it landed on the wall, and it's just a yachid. That would be the only case.